Hello. Over the years, I've always wanted to make small parts, small wooden parts. Things like improved handles on my knives, or on wood tools, on hand carving wood tools, chisels, gouges, things like that. But I suppose what it meant is that every time I saw a tool that I liked, like a chisel or a gouge or a curved knife or a small axe, I bought it and then I slowly restored it and sharpened it and cleaned it up and made it nice. But the one thing that was always missing is that I couldn't really work out a way to hold the workpiece, hold the piece of wood. Holding it in the vise was always the wrong direction, and having the metal parts holding the workpiece is always a bad idea for using sharp tools. And holding the piece by hand, for example, if I were working with this and holding it by hand, there's always the risk of a nice soft palm being stabbed by the skew chisel. Bad idea, it doesn't work out well. But how was I going to hold the workpiece? Never could work that out. And then I came across a piece at the antique store, which was a device that you sat on, and the sides closed up in a sort of a device like this to hold something, and you could adjust the clamp. The trouble is that it held it sideways, and if I wanted to pull on a piece, it didn't hold it the right way. I wanted it to be held on the ends, not on the sides. So the idea was good, but it didn't work. It doesn't work. It's made for leather. It's made for a different application, different purpose. But the idea was planted, and I looked and looked, still couldn't find anything, until I came across a picture from the Shaker Museum in Western Massachusetts. It was a thing that they called a shave horse or shave jack, and you sat on the thing, and with your feet you could operate a lever that clamped the workpiece against a solid block. That's it, perfect. But where could I find one? I couldn't find one. Nowhere in sight. No, barely even an image of the thing. But there was one, and David Fisher makes one. He sells plans for it, and so I spent the $30, bought the plans, and then because my dear friend Michael has closed his wood shop, I had to find someone else to make these things for me, because I don't have the power tools and the means to make those sort of things, larger pieces of wood. But last summer I went to a woodworkers convention, and Tom Lipitsky has made a couple of pieces for me, and I asked him if he would be willing to make me a shave horse according to these plans, and he said he would fit it in between his other projects. Well, fortunately his other projects slowed down within a month or so, and my workhorse is almost ready. And so this allows me to hold the piece. It's kind of like when you need to solder two wires together. You have your two hands to hold the wires, and then you need another two hands to hold the soldering iron and the solder. Well, how do you do with four hands when you've only got two? Feet don't work. Anyway, there's a problem. So you use little clamps and tools and things to hold it. Well, this shave horse is the ideal thing for holding a block of wood, so that I can use a draw knife or a spoke shave, or a chisel or a plane, or an axe, and most typically the tool that I just recently picked up is this thing. It's a cleaver. It's used for cutting bones. When I saw it, it was as blunt as a hammer. It was dirty. It had gunk and stuff all over it, but it was $3 at the junk store, and because I have my shave horse in mind, every tool I look at is a tool that I could use on the shave horse. So it's like a hammer. Everything it sees is a nail. Well, there I was. So I bought it, and I brought it home and cleaned it, and then I thought, that edge looks very thick. This part here behind the edge was thick. And I thought, to chop that into wood is not going to be good. Even an axe doesn't have to be that thick. So I have one power tool, which is a machine called a Tormek. It's a 10-inch grinding wheel on a slow turning device, which turns the wheel in water, so it keeps the edge cool. And so that micro edge is not, the heat treatment in the micro edge is not damaged by overheating it with making sparks. Just what you need, a rooster trail of sparks to ruin your edge. So I used the Tormek, and I ground this away. I got rid of a lot of the metal behind the edge, and it thinned it out pretty well, but it looked like hell because it was all scratched in this direction. Slightly hollow ground, and which is generally good, but it didn't look good at all. Much the same with this. It had such a frown in the middle here from being badly sharpened with the steel that I had to grind away the whole back part of the blade here and some of this around here to try and get a better continuous curve on the edge. So I ground it away, and then I used the Tormek to grind away the metal from behind the edge, and once again it did a good job. Functionally it was perfect, but it looked like hell. So today I couldn't take it anymore. I said, this has got to be fixed. So I got my wooden block. This is a wooden block that Michael made for me, and he cut it. So here you can see here maybe. He cut this angle at 11 degrees. And so it's just a block, and I rested on a piece of silicone. This is a piece of 2 or 3 millimeter thick silicone, which keeps it from slipping on the table. And I then put a piece of silicone on the top here, and then I get my tool. In this case it's the cleaver, and I put it on the top there, so it's pretty stable. It's not very stable now because this table is not flat, but it holds it holds the tool at the right angle. And then I can get well, this is an old Arkansas stone. It's a part of a 3-stone system that was sold by Brookstone, and it came unstuck, and it was dirty and covered in oil. So I cleaned it. I didn't make it dirty and covered in oil. I bought it like that. But I cleaned it. I got the stones off, cleaned them, got the oil out of them, and now they're really quite nice. But what they are is a perfect tool to hold the abrasives that I needed to clean up these edges. So here I have some Cubitron. This is a 3M product. It's an aluminum oxide ceramic abrasive. It's very hard and long-lasting, durable abrasive. But I could wrap this around here, and then I could go at the edge like this. Now, because this is at 11 degrees, if I hold this level, that gives me just about the right angle. And then as I started working it, I had a bit of oil on here. I could actually see where it was cutting because I had the light shining on the edge. So I could literally go back and forth here and grind off the scratch marks from the wheel and get this refined much further. So it made it thinner behind, even thinner behind the at the top of the bevel, and it made it look much nicer. So I went from using this Cubitron stuff to using this silicon carbide 220. So this Cubitron is 180 down to 220, and then I used I think I used the stone actually. I then used the stone to take it down a bit more, and once I got it fairly smooth, I then got some of this, which is 3M's 1500 grit wet dry paper, and I wrapped this around the stone, and then put some water on it, and then I was able to polish out this edge. And I did the same thing for this knife. So here, wait, let me move this away. The silicone sticks, which is very nice. That's exactly what it's supposed to do. And then put this on here, and once again I could just finish this out with the 1500 paper, polish it back and forth, and I now got rid of all those nasty scratches. And even though this is not a fancy Japanese knife with different kinds of steel with a kasumi edge, it's got a nice polished bevel, and it looks very nice. And there's still enough patina on this blade between the rust marks and old deep rust stains and scratches and the signs of use, but it feels great. I crowned the spine a little bit. I didn't really crown it as much as just smoothed it out so that there are no little rough parts in it. And it's now an absolutely beautiful Russell Green River, a knife from the Green River Works. The steel is flexible. It's a carbon steel. Probably, my guess is this is 100 years old now, probably made in the 1920s. And for me, it's a beautiful tool. Okay, the steel's probably around about 55 on the Rockwell scale. It's not hard like a modern steel, but it's easy to sharpen. It's flexible. It's super thin, and it's light, and it cuts beautifully. And for me, this is a knife made in the very best taste for production knives. Absolutely beautiful. So to get back to the cleaver, this is now cleaned up, and once again, I haven't polished this edge, but it's clean, and it's good enough for a working tool. And mostly this edge is nice and thin behind the edge. I mean, the bevels are thin behind the edge, and when it comes to chopping into bits of wood, well, I'm not going to chop into this, but and this is bigger than anything that I would be using, but just gentle chops. Turns out that if I just hold it in my hand like this, it's a wonderful tool for chopping. And I wouldn't do that with a knife because the knife would be too small, but an axe is just on the heavy side, more than I want. This, I think, is going to be great. I haven't used it yet, but I will, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be good. Tools are very flexible. You just need your imagination. And so what I will do in the end is I will sharpen this further. This is a piece of translucent Arkansas that Steve made for me. Steve at Dan's Whetstone Company. Steve is the guy who sorts out all the various pieces of rock before he breaks them into pieces. He knows exactly where to break them and shape them so that he can get good parts out of them. Makes the most out of the stone that exists. He releases the stones from the body. Anyway, this piece he made for me with knowing what I wanted it for, and this is going to be a perfect piece just to finish off this edge. I'll be able to just polish it out like that, and I get a beautiful, sharp Arkansas stone finished edge and a nice light tool. This steel is probably, I'm guessing it's 60 on the Rockwell scale. It's got tons of chrome in it, and I think some of those chrome carbides are extremely hard, and so this is going to be not only a very sharp edge but a very durable edge. I wouldn't want to shave with it with all those carbides and those chrome carbides in the edge, but for a wood tool, it's going to be perfect. All right, well, I think that's about all I have to say today. So now if I can find out where I turn this thing off, well, I guess I'm not going to find out. So I'll have to get up and turn it off. All right, goodbye.